Nirma Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Datia. We have with us Noel Sequeira, a freelance investment consultant located in Mumbai, who possesses over 14 years of diverse experience in the corporate world, spanning financial services domain, and having worked with renowned banks such as Citibank, Stancy, IDFC First, and large-scale distribution setups like Aditya Birla Wealth, Prudent Corporate Advisory Services, et al. Welcome to the show, Noel, and welcome to Safalta Ka Safar as well.
Thank you, Hiran.
So, Noel, my first question coming to you overall right now is, how did you actually start your journey? You worked with so many corporates. What made you take that shift to get into and become an investment consultant?
Thank you. Actually, the journey wasn't very easy, because as you mentioned, having worked with all of these renowned brands gives you a sense of security, as I say. And I started my journey actually just over a period of a year, which is very trying times during COVID. So it wasn't very easy, though it was very exciting because every time there was something like this emanating at the back of my mind, because I believe in this beautiful country of India and its people, because we've seen the growth happening in this country over the last 10 years, and I feel that I want to be a part of this growth story in a small way, personally. So yes, it wasn't very easy. There's a lot of checklists, do's and don'ts, and things like that. But at the same time, it's pretty exciting, and I'm enjoying the journey from started off.
Right. So, what is that key, secret sauce that you found which actually made you take this decision? Because yes, there are independent advisors, but in terms of the literacy, in terms of financial independence, is something which is missing.
Right. So I think the secret sauce would possibly be uh, I guess, the communication, that we can actually relate to with every individual today, and the fact that when I see communication, the financial communication, because there's so much communication already happening. You see, I believe if I can simplify that, to the investor, of any kind, and I always believed in simplification of that financial terminologies or jargons. So if I can sit across with someone and I can actually explain to him in simple language, I think my work's done. So I guess that's the secret sauce. Possibly, I think I probably have.
Right. So how have you actually created your brand and premium in the market? How has that journey been for you? And with that, you've been associated with Nirmal Bang as well. How has Nirmal Bang helped you achieve and create your brand and premium in the market?
So that's a good question. So as I told you, Hiral, I started my journey especially during the difficult COVID period. It's started off from May 2020 onwards, right up till we are still going through those difficult times. So I guess the important enabler for me was actually technology in a way, because sitting at home, you can barely do anything. With so many things happening around you, So I guess technology was a very important enabler for me, and I used technology to actually leverage my personal brand as well. And obviously, the fact that I worked in so many companies helped me, because I had developed a good enough client base, a network of colleagues, friends in the industry, etc. So I used technology and my previous contacts to actually leverage that to my full potential, and I think somewhere that has helped me, kind of giving impetus to my brand. That's me. Nirmal Bang, actually, the association has been quite a beautiful journey. Also, Nirmal Bang itself, the brand has been going through a lot of transformation, and they have used technology very well, in order to leverage their own brand. So I think it was a win-win situation for both of us, and I have constantly have their RMs also contact me and update me on the things happening on their side. So yeah, it's going on very well.
Absolutely. And I think looking forward to that onwards and upwards journey to continue from here on as well. So, overall, Noel, if you could just help me understand what have been your initial challenges, and do you think that financial literacy has grown in the country in the last few years? Because for an independent advisor, financial literacy amongst the investor community is something which is crucial. And it's mainly the retail investors who lack this. So, for the business to progress as well, financial literacy amongst these retail investors is something which is a key, which always has been a major challenge. So, how did you overcome that?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, what's actually important is before financial literacy is actually making sure that you are able to relate to the individual in a more simpler way. So, yes, as you rightly said, the financial literacy quotient has been really increasing in India. We have the proliferation of the news channels, we have digital media, you have Internet of Things, all put together. A lot of people, and of course, the smartphone penetration today actually has also helped very largely. You have people or YouTube influencers dishing out videos on markets and at all. So I believe the financial literacy, yes, is growing. But at the same time, what I also feel is that because there's too much of information, a lot of people also get confused with what to do, when to do, and how. So I guess in the entire process, I believe that more and more people are getting financially literate. That's for sure. And to actually take them to the next level, I guess I play a role in sitting down and actually helping them kind of write down their goals, do the entire asset allocation, the profiling, etc. Help them to understand the market participant, the constituents, and things like that. So I guess financial literacy, I guess, is only going to increase. And in a country of about 1.45 billion population and growing, I think there's enough and more scope for this literacy to increase tremendously.
Right. So, with all of this, what would your key advice be to retail investors right now? Because what happens is the moment someone starts investing, the key advice that they've got from parents, grandparents is that FDs are the best source of investment to start off with and start creating FDs. No one actually started looking at equity markets, debt, or any of the other financial, products which are available in the market. So, what would your advice be to a new investor who's now looking to start saving money?
So I think my advice would be first and foremost, start small. Because the word retail typically means the guy is just starting off, right? So you don't actually need a lot of money to start. That's the best part. You could start off with anything as low as 500 rupees to 1,000 rupees per month. Most of the minimum SIP applications go as low as that. Second most important is stay away from too much information. I would say largely because I think we are in an era where information keeps flowing, and that may kind of confuse the retail investor a bit. Thirdly, I would say that try and find access to a financial advisor, a good financial advisor who can help you build up early, because starting early is equally important. You may start small, but starting early is also very equally important. So I think that's kind of the three main things I would say. And probably the last, fourth, and most important thing is patience. Wait for your deals to grow. Wait for things to.
Right. Okay. So once someone is starting small, apart from FDs, which are the other products do you think which are safe bets? Yes, there are risks associated everywhere, but are less riskier than the many available right now.
Right. So I would say that when you use the words less riskier, so I think the risk in this statement depends from person to person. Like I would say, yes, of course, we've always traditionally found fixed deposits to be less riskier, but it also depends upon where you hold your fixed deposit. Not many people actually really know that. So I would say that a cooperative bank fixed deposit would be probably more riskier compared to a fixed deposit in a nationalized bank, which is well regulated by the RBI. It's got norms of capital adequacy, etc. Though it forms a gamut of fixed deposit. Now, going away from that, I think today even you have traditional investment sources like your PPF, your EPF are also equally rewarding. Obviously, they have those restrictions of lock-in, etc. So, to moving away from traditional fixed deposits, you have debt mutual funds, which can offer you very good yield across varying time horizons depending on the need, and liquidity. So you have from liquid funds or ultra short-term funds that are actually very very lower riskier products to a gilt funds. So I think depending upon exactly what your need is, your time horizon is, and the kind of risk appetite that you bear, I think mutual funds largely provide enough and more gamut for any investor today.
Hmm. Right. And with all of this, another aspect that I do learn about you is that, your key areas of expertise lies in retirement wealth planning, children's goal planning, and advising the NRI segment as well. So how are these three segments different from, any of the regular segments that we look at?
So, what really happens is when we talk about these specific segments, today we find that a lot of urban populations, so like I give you an example of an urban population, especially people living in metro cities. So let's take the example of, let's say, children's investment. When you are probably ask them what kind of investments do they have, they probably say that we have many investments. But you see, most of these investments are actually scattered everywhere. They're not very goal oriented. So when you talk about children's investments, it's important to actually attach those investments to your child's goals. And what's really important is to understand is how much years the child actually has to attain majority, which is when the child can actually get the rewards of those investments, right? So I guess these two things are not very linked in many ways. So what I actually do is I try to understand to the investor and try to link these goals, try to kind of segregate investments towards children's education and future savings, which is a very important goal in any parent's life, right? So I think that's one of the important aspects of initial hand-holding that we do for that group of investors. Secondly, retirement planning. I mean, today in India, we really don't have a social security apparatus in place. So it's very imperative that we actually consider retirement planning as a very important goal. Uh, Likewise, as I said, most of our savings or investments are scattered everywhere. It's very important to actually consolidate them and get together and understand how much of money you would need to really outlive the rest of your life if you need them to come to you monthly after retirement. See, so these two areas are actually something which I have been largely working upon. And yes, an NRI segment is something which really interests me because of taxation and other things, because I've worked in banks, but I've served NRI customers as well. So these three disciplines are something which I'm really keenly interested in.
Right. So very lastly, Noel, where do you see yourself, say 5 years or 10 years down the line? What's your growth trajectory expected to look like for you? Because the moment we understand your growth trajectory, we know a lot of other people who would be becoming secured from an investment perspective as well for their future.
Right. So honestly, I have not attached any metric to my growth. I personally feel that it's important to enjoy what you're doing. So I would actually say that even from 10 years from now, I would just be continually doing what I'm doing now. And probably definitely serving more customers than what I'm serving today, because as I said, digital technology has enabled me to reach out to a larger audience. So I'm really hoping that I would continue my reach towards building more and more customers and serving the last customer as best as I served my first customer.
Absolutely. And that's a good goal to have as well. Thank you, Noel, so much for joining us on the show. A pleasure to speak to you. In fact, a lot of insights that investors will be able to take from this conversation as well. Thank you. Stay safe and speak to you soon again.
Thank you so much, Alpha. Thanks.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.